This video right here is one of the reasons why I was hesitant to do this series because I know I was going to do a video talking about Michael Jordan eventually. Okay, and look, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, Michael Jordan fan, as far as the basketball player is concerned. But at the same time, just because you're a basketball player and a all a Hall of Fame, widely acclaimed basketball player doesn't mean that you have the right to treat people like dirt and treat people like shit. I get that, sometimes people can get on your nerves. It can be aggravating being, I'm pretty sure it's aggravating being in his position at times when you want privacy. I get all that, but it doesn't excuse you from being an asshole. Okay. Um, now I get it. He's very competitive. He said in the last dance he has a competition problem. I believe him. Um, but I do think that if he wasn't a six-time world champion, a Chicago icon, uh, if he wasn't still widely considered the GOAT by many people when it comes to NBA, I think if he was a regular person and he did the same things that he has done and continues to do, he would be considered a supreme asshole, a jerk. Those are many of the things that have been attributed to him: asshole, jerk, arrogant, a dick. All these different attributes are usually used to describe Michael Jordan's personality. All right. Um, what's funny is the way that he approaches sports. I actually agree with that mindset to a large degree. Some people consider him almost sociopathic in the way that he approaches sports. It's a war, it's a competition. Um, the closest person I've ever seen to him historically, in my opinion, to the way that Michael Jordan approaches sports and approaches life. And a lot of people say Kobe Bryant, and there's a lot of truth in that. But Kobe was more competitive just in basketball. Like the way Michael was with basketball, Kobe was the same way. The difference is, Kobe was like that with mostly just basketball. Outside of other things, he didn't have quite the same competitive streak. Michael's like that with everything. And the person that reminds me the most of from a historical standpoint, it's not Kobe Bryant. It's not, Muhammad Ali, or, it's not, maybe uh, Ted Williams, or somebody like that. It's Ty Cobb. As weird as that sounds, him being a segregationist born over a century ago, if you read about him, there are a lot of similarities. Um, the way they approach sports, Ty Cobb thought it was war. He looked at the pitcher as the enemy. He looked at the opposing team as the enemy. He did not tolerate teammates half stepping it or having a lackadaisical attitude when it comes to sports. He did not like that. He liked for everybody to have the same mindset that he did going to war. You heard Michael say that in the last dance, that he wants someone that he can trust to go to the trenches with to war. And that's what it reminds me of Ty Cobb. Both of them were gamblers. As a matter of fact, the commissioner at the time, I think at the time, both Tris Speaker and Ty Cobb were either both retired, or Ty Cobb was near the end of his career, or both of them were near the end of their careers. One or the other. At the time, though, Kennesaw Mountain Landis, who was the commissioner at the time, and a vicious, virulent racist, and was the person blocking baseball from being integrated. It wasn't until after he died in November, was it November or December 1944? I think it was November 1944, when the next commissioner allowed the eventual integration of baseball with Jackie Robinson, right? But anyway, Kennesaw Mountain Landis took up for both of them because they had illegally betted on their teams with gambling, but he covered up for them because he knew what happened about 8 years earlier, 7, 8 years earlier, with the Black Sox scandal, where several members of the White Sox were taking bribes, um, apparently from either Arnold Rothstein or through Arnold Rothstein to take a dive, and those players were banned, and it was a black eye for baseball, and revenue went way down. It wasn't until Babe Ruth started hitting home runs that he brought baseball back. But anyway, that's a different story. But yeah, they remind me of each other. Both of them like golf. When Ty Cobb retired to replace that thrill, he played golf, and then when his health got bad, he pretty much just did thrill seeking shit, man, like uh, racing cars or uh, gambling. He had to have that fixed. That's why they remind me of each other, because they both have competition problems. And Ty Cobb was a supreme asshole, probably worse than Jordan. But he can get away with it in his era. He was a white man from the South in 1915, 1920, 1925. You know what I'm saying? There was so many stories of him beating up black people who got uppity, beating up people in the crowd because they dared say something derisive about him and shit. But anyway, back to Jordan. Look, I get it. You can look at it through the prism of basketball and just chalk it up to competition, some of his behavior when it comes to basketball on the court or just through his teammates. His UNC teammate Buzz Peterson saying that Jordan cheated his own mother playing cards. You know what I'm saying? You could talk about how, when his good friend Charles Oakley got traded in 1988 for Bill Cartwright. He hated that trade. He hated that they traded away Charles Oakley. And it got to the point where when Bill Cartwright was there, he was purposely throwing him passes he knew that Bill Cartwright couldn't catch, purposely trying to dump the ball off to him in spots of the floor where he knew Bill Cartwright wasn't really comfortable catching the ball, and Bill Cartwright might turn the ball over or shoot up a brick and make him look bad. It doesn't sound like a good teammate to me. It's like somebody that has a sadistic streak in him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that playing with Larry Bird or Magic Johnson or Kobe Bryant was um, peachy keen, but Michael had an extra sadistic streak in him. You know what I'm saying? Something that you really didn't see with anybody else, not to that extent. We already heard about how he made Horace Grant cry. Horace Grant was his favorite personal whipping boy. Wouldn't let the nigga eat if he had a bad game. You ain't eating. You don't deserve to eat. Stacey King. You know what I'm saying? He used to deride Stacey King and talking about how can you be 6'10" or 6'11" and 260, 270 and you only grab fucking 4 rebounds a game. Jordan said, I'm averaging 6 rebounds a game. I'm a fucking guard. The fuck are you here for? Fat bitch. That's how he would talk to people. You seen on The Last Dance. You fat bitch. Some people are sensitive now. Some people they take it in stride. Some people they can't deal with it. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get away with that with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Bill Cartwright later checked him on that, and then it was an incident that happened with Robert Parrish. Robert Parrish joined the Bulls in 1996. It was his last season. his 21st at the time, which at the time was a record, since been broken by Vince Carter. And Robert Parrish was already a future Hall of Famer at that time. All right, he had already scored over 20,000 career points, had over 14,000 rebounds, won 3 championships with the Boston Celtics in the 1980s, multiple All Star. He was already an established player. Um, he had been there when before Jordan even was in the NBA. So he wasn't enamored by Michael Jordan. But Jordan just get in his face, talk shit to him until Robert Parrish had to check him. Sometimes with a guy like Jordan, you gotta check him. But at the same time, you can make the counterpoint that, hey man, Mike is just that's just how he tries to see if you can hang with him. You know, that's the way that he sees if you'll be strong enough to go to battle with him. That's a good point too. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, I'm just giving these incidences or these incidents to give you an idea of what type of person he was. Rodney McCray. Rodney McCray was a really good player with the Houston Rockets. He joined the Bulls in 1992 off the bench. The Bulls bench was starting to become kind of old by that time. That was a weak spot with the Bulls. Rodney McCray struggled with Chicago. Matter of fact, I don't believe Rodney McCray was on the playoff roster, if I'm not mistaken. Rodney McCray did terribly with Chicago, and many people attribute it to Jordan just psychologically destroying him. And that was Jordan's specialty too. He loved, if he didn't like you, if he had a grudge against you, he would do things to try to psychologically destroy you. I read about when they were in practices, he would just fuck with Rodney McCray, be like, "You're a fucking loser." You know what I'm saying? You've always been a fucking loser. He's talking about how the fact that Houston never won. Um, Many times Houston was knocked out in the first round. That's something I said before that people forget when they elevate Olajuwon is that even though he played 18 years and won 2 championships, 9 times in his career, his teams were knocked out in the first round. And they often lost. It wasn't like they were losing to great teams. Oftentimes they were being knocked out by inferior teams, upsetted. So that's a little bit of backstory as to why Jordan was saying that. You're a fucking loser. Always been a fucking loser. And Rodney McCray, he said it was like he didn't even like offensively. He was like gunshot. Like he didn't even want it. Like he ruined his confidence. He did the same thing to Muggsy Bogues. He never played with Muggsy Bogues, but supposedly in a 1995 game, and I'm assuming this is the 95 playoffs because the Bulls played Orlando in the first round. And it was a game that went down the wire. It was a close game. And Muggsy Bogues had the ball. And Jordan's guarding him. And Muggsy's 5'3". Jordan is 6'6". And he tells to Muggsy, he yells out, "Shoot it, you fucking midget!" So, you know, Muggsy Bogues, I'm pretty sure, had a complex about being short. Jordan said that for a reason. Muggsy Bogues missed a shot. Now, mind you, at that time, Muggsy Bogues was sort of a borderline Hall of Fame player. A guy that was giving you 13 points, 2 steals, 8+ assists per game. He had the lowest, or the highest, I should say, assist to turnover ratio, however you want to look at it, in the history of the NBA. I mean, he didn't turn the ball over. Pretty decent defender, even though he was small. He had a low center of gravity, so he got a lot of steals, and he was a pretty good defensive player. Afterward, you saw like a declining of his production. You know what I'm saying? Um, Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley and him supposedly were friends, right? Until Charles Barkley said what he said about Michael as an owner. They don't always speak to each other. Which goes to show you that Michael can't take criticism, even from a supposed friend. But Tex, I think it was Tex Winter. I think it was Tex Winter who said this. It was either Tex Winter or the other assistant. I can't think of which one it was. But they said that during the 93 playoffs, and this is the psychological shit Jordan would do, he cultivated a friendship with Charles Barkley, which was mostly one sided. And before game four, Charles Barkley brought Michael Jordan a $20,000 pair of earrings. You know, Charles used to like to wear earrings back in the day. And the guy said to Michael, like, well, why would you do that? Why would you buy 20,000? He said, oh, I'm just playing that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? He thinks that we're friends. I'm doing that to butter his ass up. I said, I can't stand that fat motherfucker. But he thinks we're friends. He said, watch how easy he take it on me in game four. So, you know, Charles was a physical guy. The next game was Mike scored 55 points. And even in that half, in that foul that Charles Barkley, if you go back and watch that game, when Michael drove to the basket and made that shot and it was an and one, Charles halfway fouled him. And Michael thinks that was partially because Charles psychologically didn't want to go after him like that because Michael had just purchased that gift for him and he was feeling a little, you know, he was holding back. I noticed afterward, whenever Michael would drive the basket, Charles would foul the shit out of Mike after that. But not that particular time, apparently because of what Michael did. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, so there's different instances where you could argue, well, this is psychological battle. But the thing that really gets me about Michael is this. It's the off the court shit. Now, yeah, maybe he has provided money to charities. You know, maybe he's done a lot of stuff that hasn't been televised. I have heard that in the Chicago Hornets organization, he has more black males employed in management positions than any other CEO in America. So I'm not going to go after Michael with the cool shit. I could, other people will and would. The one thing I think Michael did that was fucked up is back when in that 1990 race, he didn't endorse Harvey Gantt. He should have. Harvey Gantt would have been the first elected black male senator, well, black senator, period, in what? At the time, what, since, or what, when I say black, I mean really black. I mean, because, yeah, Edwin Brooke was black, but he was mixed and, you know what I'm saying? When I say black, I mean nappy headed, you know, big lip us from the South. He'd have been the first black real U.S. senator in, I don't know, since in a century. And Jordan wouldn't do it, saying Republicans buy sneakers too. No wonder Jesse Helms is the most racist motherfucker in the U.S. Senate. Knowing you from North Carolina, you know what I'm saying? That was fucked up on his part, you know. But the thing that really gets me about Michael though, man, is the way that he treats his fans. Okay. Now, if you're purchasing shit, like if you're buying jerseys or something like that, or you're paying for autographs, or you're paying for shit, oh, Michael will take a picture for you. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're a person of status, he'll take a picture. Or, and this is the thing that really gets me about him, more likely if you're a white person, he'll put on the Michael Jordan persona. But if you're a black person, and in particular somebody that he thinks is like a nigga, you'll see a real reality check about why you shouldn't meet people that you idolize or that's your heroes. I've read so many different accounts. Like I said, maybe some of this stuff is exaggerated. Maybe some of it's not true, but it seems to be kind of the consensus. I don't like the way that he talks about or treats black people. Um, I remember reading about Michael Jordan when he was playing in Chicago the second time, and he was getting one of his cars detailed, and it was by a black-owned company. And um, the way that he was talking to the employees was absolutely, they were cleaning the car, was absolutely abominable. You know what I'm saying? And the thing that really gets me is the way that he was throwing the N word around. It's not like, okay, look, the way that he was talking, it comes across more as like a black guy who looks down on other black people. You know what I'm saying? Um, I can just tell you one account I've heard. I heard one time, about how Michael Jordan was at a mall. Maybe this isn't true. This is something I've heard and stayed in my memory bank. He was at a mall one time. The mall had got pretty much shut down because Jordan was there, right? His security detail was there. Um, but in this mall, it's a mixed population. You have some urban people, and you got some people who I guess you would call more from the hood. And one of the persons heard Michael Jordan say to one of his security personnel, "Damn, I fucking hate niggas." And he was looking at like I guess younger black people. So Michael does come across to me as one of those persons. If you are like a black person from the hood or whatever, that he looks down on you and you know what I'm saying, he's gonna dish you. I've read so many different times where a young black kid might come up to him, ask for his autograph, and he'll tell the kid, "Fuck off." I'm not, like I'm not signing your fucking autograph. Get the fuck away from me. Shit like that. Fucked up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of fucked up shit. You know, just the way that he treats staff in general, whenever he's in functions or in restaurants, the way that he treats the help is terrible. But I do notice it seems like he treats black people who are poor or middle class a lot worse than he'll treat a white person. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he's not assholes to some of them too, but I see it more with, and I've read more accounts where it's with black people. And that's why some people call him a coon. Now, I know a lot of people gonna say this is bullshit. I've had an encounter with Jordan. He was nothing like that. Da da da. Maybe maybe each situation is different. But I'll say this in conclusion: if what I'm saying has truth to it, remember this: it's black people who are going out there and standing in lines that go back 3, 4 blocks to get your new pair. It's black people who sadly put more value on your Jordans than they do other black people's lives. Because going back to the 90s, a black person might, you know what I'm saying, you out just to get your shoes. Will savagely kill another black person just to take them for a $200 pair of shoes. So that person's life to you was worth less than those $200 pair of Jordans. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be honest with you. That's fucked up, and that just goes to show you that the self hatred that permeates in our society. But at the same time, that means that Black people, the same ones that you hate and you treat like shit, are the main ones spending hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions, or at least hundreds of millions of the money that goes into billions buying your shoes. So all I'm saying at the end of the day, Michael Jordan's a great player, and he has done a great job. Him and the media have done a great job of cultivating a public persona that has been very successful. In addition to his basketball uh, exploits, have been very successful in creating a financial empire for Nike, for other products he's endorsing for himself. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and I ain't even touched on the Kwame Brown shit. Kwame Brown. You know what I'm saying? Kwame Brown, that Jordan, and this time he can't blame management because Jordan selected Kwame Brown before he stepped down. And, you know, he made Kwame Brown cry. Made him cry. And if you listen to Kwame Brown today, you can tell this ain't no soft motherfucker. Kwame Brown ain't no soft dude. So if he made Kwame Brown break down and cry, you're a sadistic dude, man. You can destroy people with their words. You know what I'm saying? And you know, there's other incidents I can remember when he was with the Wizards. One dude that, you know, would talk back to Mike because Mike was talking shit to everybody there. And one of the dudes that Mike was talking shit to, he talked shit back to him. Michael wound up using his muscle to get that dude traded. But there's something there, man. It's all I'm gonna say is this: winning covers up a lot of shit. Because one of the things that started opening my mind to Mike, opening my eyes, excuse me, to the other side of Michael, that the media kind of glosses over, is when Michael, when he left the Wizards organization, a lot of the players were cheering and they went to Abe Poland and they wanted him gone. So the thing about it, when you're winning, that type of behavior becomes more acceptable. It can be explained away, but you know what I'm saying? Abe Poland, he was supposed to go back to his regular position, and Abe Poland fired Michael for the most part. Fired him. So all I'm saying is, man, you know, Michael Jordan's a great basketball player, and I will defend him when it comes to his legacy as a basketball player. But as a person, um, no, he's a bit of, he's quite a bit of an asshole, and he does treat a lot of his fans like crap.